Being judgmental has always gotten a bad rap. But in this video, I'm going to reveal how making friends with your judgmental side is going to work in your favor, both for your own self-awareness and in your relationship with others. So let's get into this. Number one, people who say they aren't being judgmental are lying. They are. According to Dr. Ian McGilchrist, who did a 30-year research, just deep dive into the way the brain functions, has determined that the hemispheres of the brain are divided into the left side and the right side. The left side of the brain is our way of interacting with the world, the outside world around us. It does form very clear boxes of what is safe, what is not. It creates all the stereotypical sort of responses of things that you have in your mind. And it is there as a survival mechanism so that you can make snap judgments in a very quick time and preserve your life if need be. The right side of the brain is the place where you take all of those judgments and move it back. But you cannot meet, see, or do anything without an initial judgment kicking in. It is the very nature of your mind and how it works. It's a default mechanism. And so if you think that you can move past judgment, well, maybe you need to get a lobotomy on half of the hemisphere of your brain so that you don't do it anymore because it is part of you. So, I forgot to mention, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you a story about the training I did with the Project Management Institute. So stick around for that. It deals with judgment. The second thing that you want to do is recognize that you're passing judgment and move past it. The real question is whether or not you recognize you're being judgmental and how you move past it. When you are in a space of judgment, right, do you know that you're doing that? Because it is so intrinsically part of who we are, sometimes we're making judgments that are perhaps not in the best interest of what we are seeing right then. Because our brain, the way it's set up, is able to categorize things and look at stuff and say, hey, this is what that means. If I see somebody dressed like this, that's who they are. If I see somebody from this culture, that's who they are, right? Your brain does that. It does it for a reason. And you can allow that to be there because it's a part of you, but if you don't take it back, if you don't recognize that you've done it, if you don't understand this is a judgment, not a real sort of assessment of this person, you miss a component of what your brain can do for you. Let me know in the comments below how you recognize moving past judgment. Feelings that are like, hey, you know, I feel like I'm stereotyping certain groups of people. I'd love to hear about that. The third thing that you want to do is understand that suppressing your judgment is as wrong as suppressing your emotions. We do this all the time. We suppress all sorts of negative emotions because we don't want to acknowledge them. And so I'll hear people say, oh, I'm not racist at all, or I'm not, you know, they say these things, right? When in fact, what they're doing is lacking the internal acknowledgement to suggest that when I see somebody walking down the street that looks like this, I feel scared because I have an internal judgment system that tells me that I should be scared. And then when you lack that acknowledgement, you lack that ability to see that and acknowledge it, you can't get past it. And so you just stay in fear and you don't actually see that this guy walking along in front of you, who's big and bulky and covered in tattoos, has a big smile on his face and looks really happy and isn't a threat to you at all, right? This is what happens to us when we stay in a space without acknowledging that we have judgments in ourselves. And fun fact is that on this channel, I talk about emotional intelligence, relationship skills, and much more. So subscribe and you won't miss any of my videos on this type of stuff. The fourth thing that you want to do is you want to look at your self-compassion. Self-compassion is one of the best practices I know for overcoming limitations of being judgmental. The practice of self-compassion is a game I play all the time. I sit there and I try to look and see within myself how I am like what is happening. I had an experience, I do this all the time, but I was driving down the road and I got in the left-hand lane. I was at a stoplight. I was going to turn left across the lane in front of me. And there was a guy sitting, heading the other way in the intersection. He was stuck in the middle of the intersection. He was going to turn left when the when he had an open spot. And he had a few open spots that he missed. I don't know why, but he did. And when the light turned red for him and green for me, he's still in the lane. And I thought to myself, what an idiot, right? That was the thought that came to my head, because I was sitting there waiting for 2 or 3 seconds while he cleared my lane. And then I thought to myself, as that anger rose in me, I do the same thing too. It's happened to me a bunch of times where I've been stuck in the lane, and for whatever reason I missed my opportunities, and now I'm blocking the lane for a few seconds, and I got somebody leaning on their horn and flipping me off, and I'm just like, dude, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, right? But the moment I reflected and realized I do this too, my anger dissipated. First, offering compassion to yourself gives you the ability to offer compassion to others. And this allows you to let go of the judgment and become curious about the situation in hand. Another game that I play is called The Greatness I See in You. I learned this from a friend of mine who's a great coach, Gerald Rogers. And he would do it, and it's a fascinating thing because it plays on your mirror neurons. As humans, we have these, and we want to connect, and we really, truly do. And what you do is you stand in front of people, and you allow them to see each other. And I did this when I did training at the Project Management Institute. I was giving a speech for continuing education at a local college here. And I had the people, just to break down barriers of resistance to information that is coming, I had them all stand up and turn to a partner and face each other and hold hands and stare into the eyes of the person across from them. This is uncomfortable for us to do. We don't like to expose ourselves in that way. It's very vulnerable to stare into a person's eyes who maybe you don't know that well. Even if you know them, it might be uncomfortable for you. And to stare without looking away, maintaining contact, I said, now I want you to judge each other. Not out loud, silently. Look into each other's eyes and put your person, whoever's in front of you, put them into the box that your brain is wanting to put them into. What are the clothes that they're wearing? Are they wearing a polo shirt? Do you think they're uppity? Or, how are they dressed? What is it about them that when you see them makes you think whatever it is you think? And in the moment of doing that, as you go through all of that stuff and allow your brain to just have free reign on judgment, then you get to a point where you've put them in a box. And that is the moment that you can let go of judgment, after you have acknowledged it. And when you let it go, and this is what I described to them, I said, now I want you to let go of that judgment. And I want you to look back into this person's eyes. And I want you to consider, as you look at them, the journey that you have made yourself to be standing here today in front of this person. And the journey that you have made is one of great success and joy, and great sadness and failure. And the ups and downs and the ways that you have gotten to this place today are as diverse as any life that is on this planet. And can you only imagine that this person in front of you right now has faced similar things as you? And they are standing here before you and must have some amazing stories of what they have gone through to be here today, just as you do too. And as you begin to get curious about what that may be in their lives, as it matches yours, the veil of judgment drops, and the curiosity reveals to you the greatness in this person. And what I have them do is I have them speak the words of greatness that they see in the eyes of the other. And this is what's interesting about our culture, is that is hard for us to do. It is hard for us to even say good things to a person that is a stranger in front of us. What if I'm wrong? So you let go of the worry. If you say something good, hey, you are such an amazing athlete, and the person laughs and says, I'm not an athlete at all. I'm so clumsy I can barely walk down the stairs. You have not offended them. You have only missed the mark. So you can't go wrong. You get to say all the greatness you see. But the truth is that what happens is we actually can see the greatness in that person. We can see what it is reflected in their eyes. And as you do, it touches them. And the veil of defensiveness drops within them. And they begin to see each other. And you see the common humanity. And it's such a beautiful thing. It's an experience that, when I've done it in trainings, I literally every time have people weeping. And in this situation at the Project Management Institute, there were several people. They were crying and hugging each other at the end of it because they had been seen after the judgment of whoever it was they were looking at had been dropped. But the key element of this, right? The key element is to not deny that you judge. People will say that, oh, don't judge. You do judge. Get that out of your head. All of us do. It is meant for us to do. It is the way our brain works, right? You have to judge first, then you take that information from the left side of your brain, you bring it to the right side of your brain, and you get curious. And when you get curious about who that person is, letting go of the judgment, the veil of the past, the stereotypes that you have formed to save yourself can drop away. And you get to see what's really there, what's really in front of you. And then people feel safe in your presence. And that is a beautiful thing. If you like that, stick around. I want you to find out how to not self-sabotage in a healthy relationship. I'm James Burnham. Thanks for joining me.